the, y'all don't really want it now. Yeah, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it now. Yeah, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it now. Yeah, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it now.
Hello, I'm Izzy Baughn with JHSTheWarning, and we're back again with Coach Coleman on game day, and we are so thankful that you're here. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Well, last week we had an incredible win over Jacksonville, and we owned our second conference win. So tell us a little bit about the energy from Week 5's win and how that's gone into Week 6.
Well, you want to be 2-0 after the second conference game because right now you're battling for conference championship, playoff seeding. So everything that we want is still in front of us. The game was great. Exciting first half. I think 86 points in the first half by both teams. We were up 55-31. Then the second half, we come out, play well, the defense shuts them out, and we get out with a good homecoming win. And it's always fun at homecoming just because of the classes that come back celebrating their reunions and just the energy around the homecoming court and all that. So it was a good night.
Absolutely. It was a really great atmosphere on Friday night. Well, last year was the first time that the Hurricane has ever beaten Pine Bluff in school history. It was an unforgettable night, but how is the Hurricane planning to get that second win?
Well, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Last year, it was the first time in I think 29 games that we've ever beat Pine Bluff, which is crazy to think about. But this time you're going on the road, and there's not many teams that go into Pine Bluff and get a win. And so it's going to be difficult. Number one, you have to face a very talented Pine Bluff team, and then you got to battle the crowd and the travel and everything that goes along with it. So we've got a task, ahead of us that's going to be very difficult.
They are good, but I know that we can take them on and pull out a win. But speaking of, records and everything, Pine Bluff is 4-1, as well as the Golden Hurricane. So this is a huge game that we are hoping to leave 5-1. What has been the team's motivating factor this week to prepare for a very tough team?
Well, I think the fact that we beat them the first time last year, because you know that they're going to have this game circled on their calendar and it's going to be a big game. So you know that they've put themselves in a position all week where they're emphasizing, Jonesboro, the things that we do. So we know it's going to be tough. Coach Bobby Boulding, the head coach at Pine Bluff, is one of the best in the state. He's going to have his guys ready, as he always does, and we know that it's going to be a big challenge for us to go in there and get a win against a good team.
A little revenge game going on, from
definitely,
what I hear.
Definitely.
Well, last week we ended with a score of 76-31, and the offense was really able to connect and end up in the end zone. So on Friday, what made the offense finally click?
Well, number one, we were really efficient in the passing game. We were 17 out of 21, threw 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Balanced that out with a good running game. Typically we run in the neighborhood of 55 to 60 plays. Last week we're 68 plays. A lot of that came on the ground. Daniel Johnson, without Jamarcus Bibbs in the lineup, did a good job carrying it 19 times. Solomon Johnson came in and had 9 carries. But our quarterbacks played really, really well. I think any time that our offense clicks the way it did last week, it's going to hinge largely upon the quarterbacks. 17 of 21 passing, but they ran for 145 yards combined. AJ ran for 112. So it's the first time that the quarterbacks have been a factor in the run game, and any time those guys can do that, it just opens up our offense enormously.
Senior quarterback Tyson Williams was super important to our team, and unfortunately he was hurt on Friday night during the extra point. So we've seen him at quarterback, we've seen him punting, and even as our holder for extra points. How is the team going to have to adapt to Tyson being gone?
Well, it's a big loss. Like you said, there's so many different things he does. The little things that go unnoticed, when he's punting the ball, but the holding is a big part of the game. And that's why, every time we score, you have to have a great snap, a great hold, and a great kick. Well, you take one of those components out of it, it makes it difficult. Well, you never really want to mess with that in a game, so you don't bring them out, and you never imagine that they're going to come in there and fall forward and run into the holder and something like that happens. But one thing I've always admired about our kids is that they are resilient. They find a way to step up into a position that they're thrust into. So, and I think it'll happen again. We know AJ is a good player. We know he's going to play well at quarterback. Brooks Cheatham now slides in as our backup quarterback, and he had his best game of his career at JHS in the JV game Monday night. Played really, really well, had a great week of practice. Jake Slayton will step in to be the holder, and he'll do a good job, and we can always go with Jamal Harper, sophomore quarterback there, holding as well. And then, AJ will be able to punt some when we line up in that offensive set to punt. And, we always can run a regular punt team out there with Garrett and have him do his thing. So somebody will step up, and they always do, and we expect them to do that again.
Well, kind of like your shirt says, all gas, no brakes will seem to be the motto for the next few weeks,
Definitely.
trying to overcome that. Well, the Hurricane defense played outstanding on Friday. They had 33 solo tackles, 17 assists, and 4 sacks. So that was a really outstanding night for them. Tell us about how they affected the game.
Well, affected the game tremendously. Jacksonville had a really talented quarterback in H.D. Martin. I mean, a guy that can run and throw. Really caused some problems for us, especially in the first half with the early turnover on kickoff return. They picked it up and scored, so we kind of get down early. But after that, our defense kind of settled in, shut them out in the second half. It all starts up front with those guys, and Jacarvis Anderson and Asa Sharon and Dwight Starks and Kevin Pointer have been playing tremendous all year. You saw Zane Neves really step up last week and put some pressure on the quarterback, and Colton Foster's played solid like he has. Then on the back end, we got Rasun Kazadi last week to play his first game, and then Cecil Mitchell and J.G. Stafford, Eric Odie, Jerryon Green, the sophomore, all those guys have been solid in the secondary. So, it's a big test tonight. We hope we can keep playing the way we've been playing, and you've probably heard me say this before, but as long as our effort is good on the defensive side of the ball, we really like what they can do.
Well, they looked great, so we hope they keep up that hard work. Well, tonight it looks like the defense has a challenge with quarterback Tyler Foots, who can run and pass.
Right.
We saw that last week with Jacksonville with H.D. Martin. So, what are our plans to contain him?
Well, it starts up front, just like I've said, and there's got to be some containment and not letting him break the big play. So a lot of the emphasis will be on stopping him, but they're very solid at tailback. One thing that's really impressive about what Pine Bluff does this year, they've got 2 really, really good receivers. One's a really big kid who is a matchup issue, but kind of like our offense with AJ and our quarterbacks, all starts with that position. I mean, like on any team. And so we've got to do a good job of containing Tyler Foots. And hopefully what we've seen with H.D. Martin and some of the quarterbacks early in the season will have us prepared for it, and we can continue to play well.
Yeah, hopefully we can use from the past games to make that and apply it to Friday night's game. So the Zebra defense is only allowing 10.8 points per game. How does our offense plan to overcome that and get in the end zone?
Well, you got to start by not turning the ball over. In the past, traditionally for us, we're pretty good offensively when we don't turn it over. When we turn it over, we get in trouble. Also, first down is very important. Anytime, in football terms, you would say you try to get ahead of the sticks. If we can make a good gain on first down and put ourselves in a position in second and third down where we can run or pass, we feel like we can do some good things. If you have a negative play or, no gain on first down, you force yourself into a position where you may have to throw, and then they can bring pressure and change some things up on you. So they're very good. And but we like our guys, and we know that if we kind of play our game and don't turn it over, that we feel like we can get in the paint.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked about the offense and we've talked about the defense. So now let's talk a little bit about the special teams. Kickers Colin Crawford and Garrett Childers have really shown out the last few games. So tell us about their role and your confidence in their skill.
Well, their role is huge because everything that they do either help you win or will get you beat. Colin, when he's hitting the extra points for field goals, it's putting points on the board. And it's really key this week because Pine Bluff does not kick extra points. They go for 2 every time. So if we can get a couple stops on 2-point conversions and we keep hitting the extra points, then we put ourselves in a position where ultimately you could gain a possession and force them to have to score more than once. Garrett is a field position guy, and field position for us is so important because when Garrett, and like he's done a lot recently, puts the ball in the end zone on kickoff, it forces them to go 80 yards. And anytime you can make a high school team, go longer in the yardage situation and have to move the ball more across the field, they have to take more snaps. And, we're talking about high school males here that tend to make mistakes. And if you can make them snap the ball more, we feel like there's more mistakes to be made. And then in the punting game, what Garrett does is he flips the field. Again, it's all about field position. If he can flip the field and again put them in negative yardage situations, then with the defense the way it's played recently, we feel like we're in good shape.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all sides of the ball are looking really good, and we just are excited to watch you play tonight. So tonight we take on Pine Bluff at Pine Bluff, 7 p.m., and we wish you the best of luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.